May 2nd, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. There was one piece of economic data that came out today, which is around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here. Didn't really look like it moved the market too much, and it was the unemployment claims. I took a total of one trade today. I wasn't able to effectively trade after about 8 o'clock Pacific Standard, so all this was kind of reviewed after the fact, after I was able to get back to my desk. And so unfortunately, it looked like there were a few trades here that might have been worth taking. So this is what the chart looked like. It was kind of a pre-market rally, and then it had a double top, sold off, had these kind of like three legs, or one very shallow leg, a sell-off, kind of a small correction, two legs down, and then this big, kind of a bigger leg here, this pink one, and another sell-off, consolidation, and go. So it kind of looked like a, I don't know, a very strange looking, I guess, one leg and two legs up. So I'm going to get into trades now. So pre-market, FOMC meeting came out yesterday, so it was kind of a wild day yesterday. Today, in the pre-market, it kind of went up very gradually, not too aggressive. It's about 30-point range. And I didn't really see any setups in here, but I don't trade the pre-market anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. The market opens, and I'm thinking this rally could continue. Kind of double tops, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a range, because it looked like there was some kind of respect paid to the support here. So I drew this blue trading range as a potential area to price action to look for setups. You see a first entry long here, pulls back, you create a second entry long. Second entry long, and here there's a second entry long failure. EMA is flattening. It's a good signal bar for a failure. This green channel, I actually had it a little more aggressive. I actually had something closer to this at the time. So I saw it as a break of a green channel. I'll just go ahead and put it in. A little hard to see because I have too many channels drawn right now. But a break of this green channel, I'm expecting it to test the lows. Excuse me. Excuse me. I do like that it ticked one tick above. So it's like a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, continues the second entry long. Then toward the end of the close, it closed very bearish below kind of the sideways EMA. And I'm expecting a test of this low. Now, I thought if you want to take a trade, it is a little riskier, but it looks like it's there because it looks like there's enough momentum to push it down to test the low of what I thought was a trading range at the time. I'll go ahead and delete this to keep it cleaned up. Looks like it would have worked. Prices then continue moving down. It falls into this green down channel as a break, consolidates, kind of moves sideways. So I'm thinking there's another consolidation trading range area here. So I'm wondering if price is going to get up to here. Ideally want to see the price action move candles up to this. Ideally where the top of the trading range is and where the EMA is. Looks like it's about to happen. Okay, so I do see a new low. It's a first entry short, second entry short. There's a second entry short potential trade, I think. But it kind of depends on what happens in the next candle. So I don't really like the looks of this candle. When it opens, actually, let's see, opens here, does a bunch of things. It makes a double top and then it closes actually higher. So it kind of makes me pause because I'm wondering if there's actually going to be a push up. It's going to break through the EMA. Is it going to just bounce around in this trading range some more? Just doesn't make me feel too confident going short. Prices then break out of this range, goes down on this orange channel. Nothing particularly great seems to be standing out to me. Technically, you do have a localized new high here. First entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here, but there's no clear indication or signal to that you should be going long on a clearly bearish bias. Drops around, and this is actually where I set up my first trade and take my first trade. So this purple down channel doesn't exist yet, so disregard for now. I do think I'm in a trading range similar to this one. And previously, the trading range on this one broke out. So I saw this as a new low. I saw a first entry short, pull back. I don't have a second entry short yet, but I do see a triple test. So I do see this, when this one closes, The life of this candle made one attempt up, so I thought this is the first test, after the fact. Comes down, consolidates down here, makes a second push up, pushes back down, makes a third push up. So I'm seeing a triple test. 1, 2, 3. I'm also seeing a first entry short from here and a second entry short, and it had completed a nice measured move. So I thought this is a decent trade to set up. It's closed right at the EMA, not exactly below it, not exactly on it, but depending on how your chart's printed, it could actually be slightly below or right at the EMA. So I thought it was close enough to, I didn't want to split hairs for this particular trade. And I saw there was enough room from here all the way down to here. So I entered one tick below. So it's like 50, 62, 50, and the low here was 60, 52, 75. I was able to get it, quickly get my scalp, and that's all I wanted. I thought there was more room to run though, but I didn't want to risk it at this point. So I took the entire position off. It looks like you would have gotten your 2 points, maybe even 3 or 4. Price then continue moving down, makes one attempt up. This is a second entry long, but it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, kind of, doesn't have any other context going for it. Plus, you'd be counter trend trading to the overall clearly bearish sentiment, pushing the prices down. So I saw this, and actually at this point, I did draw this purple trend line because it fit pretty well. I wasn't sure it was a clean channel yet because it only fit kind of here. So I did see this as a new low. I saw a first entry short. I like that this candle moved one tick up and then flushed down and closed very strongly. So I can't really say it's a second entry, although you could say it's a first entry. And then in the life of this candle, depending how it opened and moved, it could be bouncing around and create that second entry, like a hidden second entry. But I wasn't sure, so I definitely had to leave it alone. But I really like this type of setup because it was also the third rejection of this down trend line. So I just wasn't really sure though, so I wanted to leave it alone. I saw the break of this yellow down channel. It needs to test, but there was a slight overshoot here, so it's hard to say for sure this overshoot was enough, and this would have been already a test of the low because it depends on how you drew it, because you could have clearly kind of included it. Then it would have been, there's no test of the low, it's a break, first attempt down, potentially second attempt down. But as I said, it was a little ambiguous to me. It's possible trade if you're more aggressive, more experienced. Looked like it worked. Falls into what I think is this orange down channel. It kind of reverses up now. And this is actually where I ended up placing the purple support because I wasn't really sure where it was at one time. I actually had it here and I treated this as an overshoot. But when this tested and formed, and I thought, okay, there is probably the channel at the lows here. So I'm playing in this channel now, thinking there's a bearish bias. So I'm looking for reasons to go short. You have a first entry short here, which is up. It's above the EMA now, so I'm not too keen on going short now because there is a second entry short here, but it just failed. But I'm not ready to just declare a reversal just yet either, so I'm not playing a failed second entry short. And it chops around, it falls into this trading range. And at this time, I do draw this trend line for the red. It was a trend line at this point and maybe a trend channel. So I was thinking maybe there's a red channel in play here, but I'm not too sure. It pushes up and out. So now I do like this red channel as a potential uh, channel to be trading with. I'm actually going to color it in. Increase the, there you go, it's a little darker. So I'm thinking prices are obeying and moving in this red channel. You technically have a new high, first entry long. You have a second entry long here and it's confirmed, but it's a terrible signal bar. It's far from the EMA. There's not that much room if you entered after the confirmation here to scalp out to the top. So it's just a second entry that doesn't have very high probability in my opinion. But in this case, it would have worked. Of course, you don't know that at the time. Prices moved down. So I saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long fails. Then it tries another attempt up and it creates this lower high. So at the time, in real time, I saw this lower high. Now I was going back and forth whether it was an almost trade or a true possible trade because it does confirm the failed second entry long, closed below the EMA. It's a decent signal bar. It is a larger risk because this candle itself is 3.5 points. So that's already, let's see, 16 ticks. So your stop would have to be up here if you want to enter, but more likely you'd want to keep it maybe up here where it's a little safer. But I'm already running potentially into where this pre-market low was. It didn't respect it too much, but I could see this as being one leg up, pull back, and maybe a second leg up. So this red leg could want to see a second push up. So it was a little ambiguous. I wasn't too sure, but I thought it was maybe a possible trade if you're more experienced because it's a great signal bar. You'd have to sit through this and then it flush down, likely giving you your scalp. But again, I don't know that in real time. Prices break out of this pink down channel, then it pushes back up. You have a first entry short, second entry short, second entry short above the EMA. It is a break of this green up channel and made a new high, so you could make that argument, but I just don't like a second entry short above the EMA. That could be reversing back, so I'm not 100% sure of this setup. It consolidates, it just looks very tight trading here. Prices then continue moving up. We do have a new high here, first entry long. Technically have a second entry long here. It's far from the EMA. It's a bad signal bar. It's bearish. Doesn't look quite right. Just leave it alone. Prices then continue moving up. And then it starts moving down on this yellow down channel. I do see a first entry long, second entry long, nothing here. Prices then break and it breaks. So I thought this was kind of like a shallow move. I couldn't get any of this price action to fit in a reasonable channel because you don't want to just drag this and try to include it. It just looks strange. So it looked like there was some kind of channel being obeyed here, and then it looked like it fit better on this bigger down channel. So I saw this bounce, and this is where I developed and established this green channel. I saw this green, one touch, two touch, three touch, and then it looked like it touched one touch, two touch, three touch, almost four, but close enough. So I'm thinking prices are kind of moving in this bigger green channel. It is very shallow, so I have to be very careful giving too much respect to this channel for trades, but it is there, just something to keep in mind. It creates a first entry short. It's also creates a new swing high. It's a first entry long, first entry short, first entry long. Which side's going to win? So it's about to create a second entry long, but it also created a first entry short, second entry short, decent second entry short signal bar. So second entry short is confirmed, but what's going on now is it's a new high first entry long. It could create a second entry long. This is a weak second entry short because it confirmed, but it closed higher up. So it's going to tell me that the next candle is going to tell me everything that's probably going to happen. So now this candle, not only does it go create a failed second entry short, boom, makes the second entry short fail. It confirms the second entry long. Second entry long is now confirmed. You have two key entry points. It's a break of this orange down channel. Now this orange down channel did have an overshoot here. It looked like it made one attempt down, made a second attempt down to test this low. It failed. So now I'm thinking it's going to make one push up, start a second push up. Plus, it's coming off the bounce of this green support trend line. So I'm thinking it might want to come all the way back up to here. So I thought this is potentially a trade here. It's running into the EMA for sure, but I thought the close of this signal bar was enough strength to at least get a quick scalp. So it looked like if you did enter, you'd probably gotten filled and you had to sit through this doji candle wondering. And then here looked like it likely would have gotten your scalp. So if I were in a trade and I took it here, and by the way, I already stopped trading at 8 o'clock because I had to do something else. If I were to enter this trade and it got filled in here, as soon as it went up here, I think I would have just quickly exited and not try to push for anything more because this leaves me a little concerned. It looks like it's a kind of a weak bullish bar, but it looked like it would have worked for more than just one or two ticks or 1 or 2 points. Kind of chops around. I drew this green up channel because it looks like prices are now following this green up channel, and I'm still keeping an eye on the potential of this price action reaching the highs here or somewhere along the lines trending with this. Chops around and then it kind of reverses back down. Okay, so now I have a fourth confirmation. So I'm watching carefully. Is this going to hold? If it holds, then I have a pretty trustworthy trendline support that I can take as a key entry point. So it looks like it's pretty good so far, but I only have a first entry long. Is it going to create a second entry long? It doesn't. It breaks out, creates a second entry long, but now it violated this trend line going up. So I'm not that keen on it, not too hot on it. It was chopping sideways. And in real time, when I saw this, then I saw this. I would definitely abandon a trade. I wouldn't be thinking going long. These two candles are side by side the same length, but this one was go pushing up and this one looked like it was pushing back down. So then this one definitely would have had me just like, okay, there's no trade. Don't try your luck here. You don't know what's going on. Definitely even leave it alone. But of course, when you do that, it likes to taunt you and push up really strongly. But that's okay because you don't know this is going to happen. And then look at it, reverses and takes it all back. So that's just kind of confusing. There's a new high, first entry long, second entry long, technically a third entry long. No clean setup that I can see. So it looked like it made one attempt up, made a second attempt up, made a third attempt up. So I do see a new low here, yellow up channel, broke, tested and made a new high, made one attempt down, made the second attempt up. So it's break of this yellow channel, one push up, pull back, second push up, triple test. It closed below the triple test. I'm thinking if there's potentially a trading range defined by this top of this resistance and maybe this support down here, or actually something a little higher, potentially something like right through here, but I wasn't too sure yet. So I thought maybe there's a trade here, and I would have taken or thought about taking a trade, well, if I was even here, if this closed at the low. It's too doji, it's too neutral. But if you were more aggressive and you trusted your triple test, you probably could have just watched this, and then when it broke below this guy, maybe drop in your trade and hope it came back to pick you up and then flush down. But as you can see, it's really volatile because as soon as it went down, it consolidated twice on two bars and then flushed pretty much the entire move back up. This candle is actually still bigger than this one. So it just took the entire thing back, creates a multiple triple or a quadruple test, but then it keeps going. So no trade there. There is a potential support trend line here. It broke out of this green channel and then just kept going. Now it breaks out of this red up channel that I have drawn, has an overshoot, creates a first entry long. Now this second entry long is a potential second entry long. The thing I don't like particularly about this is if I truly trust this channel, this overshoot is probably going to try once, twice, and then push back to the downside. So this is an almost setup. It is a nice second entry long for sure, but the downtrend for this orange channel hasn't played out yet. You are going with this pink channel up, so this just feels risky. You have a confirmed second entry long, but you notice it makes a double top. So it could be one push up, pull back, second push up, then failure, and comes all the way back to here. So that I called this an almost trade because I wasn't too sure. Looks like it kind of makes a second attempt up, and then it looks like it's trying to get back down to here, but it consolidates. This is just noisy price action. Look at these candles, it's not very clean. Then it pushes back up, creates a first entry long, second entry long, technically a third entry long, but it confirms this channel now, more clean. Then pushes up, breaks out of the pre-market high, creates a first entry long pullback. Now this second entry long, when you see this, I ideally wanted this candle to touch the EMA and then close like it did before. Then I would have been ready to take a trade, but it was a little bit hovering, so I wanted to see the next candle. Maybe it's going to make the second move down actually touch the EMA or even bounce off this orange, this pink up channel support. But unfortunately, it does touch, and then unless you entered on the engulfing, which I didn't, it closes high, and now it feels like it's too late to try to chase this trade because there's not enough room to the high, and I don't want to put my entry down here necessarily because I just kind of felt the trade has already gone without me because it just feels there could be a trading range. You could be buying at the low if it came back for you, but it felt like I was too late. But it was a possible trade if you were more aggressive and you entered on the engulfing of this guy right here. Prices continue moving up. First entry long. It hits this support, but it fails and then pushes right back through. So it's a first entry long, second entry long. Nothing here is telling you to go long yet. And then when you wait for this candle, it would just kind of gone without you. There's a first entry long. It's breaking out of this pink up channel now. So it looks like this pink up channel is no longer really holding. First entry long, second entry long. There's no good signal bar to tell you to go long. You do have a new low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short. Again, not a good signal bar. Nothing here is telling you to go short. Pushes down. It goes in this yellow channel. Breaks one push up, second attempt up. It did try to push to test the lows here. It's a little confusing. I'm not sure because it looks a little sideways now. I'm not sure if it's going to actually come back down to test the lows of this yellow down channel. And it looks like it kind of does, but it consolidates. It's not the cleanest price action. We do have a new high here. It's a first entry long right here, second entry long. This is out in the middle of nowhere, so I didn't really like that. Consolidates sideways, and then you enter the last 10 minutes, and it just gets really choppy all the way into the close. So overall, it wasn't the most eventful day. I was able to manage to get one trade out, which I thought was decent because I saw a measured two legs up, triple test, second entry short, and then there was probably a couple other trades in here that might have been decent. Some of them, a couple of them, I think were almost trades, but overall, this is how I saw the charts. A little more quiet and subdued compared to yesterday. So hopefully that was helpful.